Right now, we're going to speak to Varghese, who is a former former prosecutor, defense attorney. Mr. Varghese, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. How you doing?
Good. Is it Varghese or Varghese?
Varghese.
Varghese. So the issue is Mr. Trump and his tweets. A judge has handed down a decision whereby he is not allowed to block anybody because this is now a public forum and it's a First Amendment issue. My fear, first one, I just think to myself, you can't make this stuff up. It's comical. The Justice Department is saying they disagree with this. My fear is going to trickle down to all of us, that we're all going to have some constraints on our ability to block people if the law blocks the president as well. But what do you say?
Well, look, I mean, the first thing that's really kind of humorous here is that, you have a porn star getting the president in trouble, now his Twitter account. You got to wonder what the founding fathers would think.
Oh, my God. Right? I mean, yes. I mean, it's like, geez, they didn't make provisions for this. Imagine that.
Yeah, I don't think, Ben Franklin, George Washington, or Jefferson thought about this kind of thing, or Hamilton, But, here's the thing, and this is the bigger issue. I understand your concern of what you're saying about being able to block, but the president uses the @real Donald Trump to announce policy. So he announced the firing of Rex Tillerson. He announced the hiring of Chris Wray.
Right.
So this is an official government entity. He uses it to make policy decisions, things that affect him, that affect people. So, I mean, what does it say? The bigger question is, what does it say that the president of the United States can't stand criticism? I mean, he's the one who calls people snowflakes all the time, but he can't stand a little heat on his own Twitter account. It's
so
sad,
easy
actually.
not to read your mentions.
Well, but
if he's going to use it for policy, just go ahead and tweet and stop reading what everybody responds to.
Oh, I'm with you. And to be fair, but everything we're sort of brushing past here is the sort of incredible story here, the incredulity that we all think, as you opened with, the founding fathers are just, they're not crying in their graves. They're laughing in their graves. They're crying in their graves. But that doesn't really get at the legal issue, which I find confusing, which is this judge felt it was within her power to restrict the president's ability to block a Twitter feed. And that, to me, that's another layer of this farce. But to tell me what the legal sort of justification for that is, and then what the DOJ plans to do in response.
Well, the legal justification is actually, you stated it right up front. She found it to be a public forum and not a personal account. If this were just a purely personal thing, then, you can block whoever you want. The judge also said that he can mute these people and doesn't have to, as Lauren just said, doesn't have to actually listen to these or read these tweets. So I think she's actually in pretty good standing. I actually know the judge. I've appeared before her in her courthouse. She's a very reasonable judge. She was a former federal prosecutor, part of the executive branch of government and, usually pro-government. But, she ruled here. I really, it's just sad that, taxpayer dollar is being used to defend this, because all he had to do was just, not block these people.
Well, but
exactly.
It's better. But if you really look at the farce that we're writing here, it gets even better. Is it, excuse me, it's that taxpayer dollars were being spent so a judge could educate the president on how to use his Twitter to mute the people as opposed to block them.
Thank you.
It's really, the farce goes deep. It really is incredible, isn't it?
Well, I mean, think about it, though. He created this action. I mean,
absolutely. This is on.
But we're all part of the play.
There would be a reaction.
We're all part of the play.
When you're the president blocking people are going to react. I mean, he's blocked some well-known people, and why is he so sensitive? I mean, he should just be able to be president and take it. It's interesting.
It's interesting.
It is, and if he wants his own account where he can just post photos of his lunch and talk about what concert he went to or how he feels about things. He can follow the news and call it fake or whatever, and it's his own personal account. That's one thing, but because he's using that POTUS account, that's what changes everything.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
he's announcing official policy. I mean, this was his account, but he's not using. He's instead of using the POTUS Twitter account, he's using @the real Donald Trump to announce policy decisions.
Oh, he is. Okay, so it is the Donald Trump account.
Yeah, he's using that to criticize, Kim Jong-un, calling him, names and little dictator, all this stuff. and making decisions. I mean, he announced the firing of Rex Tillerson on his Twitter account.
I'm so confused.
This is not from the POTUS account.
So is he doing the POTUS tweets?
Who's using the POTUS account?
Yeah, this is at real Donald J. Trump.
I thought that was his. I thought that was
the ruling came down.
But I mean, does he do the POTUS tweets also, or we don't even know who does?
It's not being used, right?
Probably not. Probably not.
Oh my gosh!
He has a guy named Dan Scavino who's his social media guru. He was named in the suit. So is Hope Hicks. So is Sarah Huckabee Sanders. But apparently Sarah Huckabee Sanders doesn't have access to the Twitter account. So it's going to affect Scavino. And the other interesting thing is that the judge did not order Donald Trump, the president, to unmute or unblock these people because she said that, this is a decision. The DOJ knows what it has to do and has to follow the decision.
And what's the DOJ going to do?
Well, they can certainly certainly choose to appeal her.
More taxpayer dollars.
Oh my God!
More taxpayer dollars being spent so efficiently.
Let me ask you this: so, moving forward now, those people that were blocked become unblocked after this ruling?
Again, it depends on what the DOJ does. If they choose to appeal, they can move for a stay pending appeal. And then they'll have to actually use more taxpayer dollars to move for that stay before the merits are heard. So, when you think about it, right? I mean, what leader should have, he's the leader of the free world. I mean, here's the answer. There's no answer. The answer is that's who he is. And
the answer is this is the person we elected.
Right. The answer is that's the president. And unfortunately, we're asking those questions and it's creating farcical sorts of dance. But there we are.
Isn't there something his staff can do? Like, can't Dan Scavino just kind of like
and listen,
make his account, mute his mentions so he can't read them, but prevent him?
In your overt question, there's that embedded in Mr. Varghese's question too, which is, why is he like that? Can't they do something about it? The answer is, he is and no.
Right.
So there you go.
There we have it.
So why is he like that? And why can't they control him? It's been tried, and it's how he navigates, and this is his management style and his communication style, and off we go. So, well, listen, Mr. Varghese, I appreciate your opinion.